I'm Gloria Strode, and welcome to Straightforward. We are on location with the fabulous Judson Patten, a retired educator here in Muskogee County, but has traveled the country in the early years of the Miss Georgia pageant and had the opportunity to even go to Atlantic City.
Several times, yes.
Several times for the Miss America pageant. And so today, Judson, my visit with you, we are at pageant season again.
That's right.
And you and the very lovely Mrs. Louise, your late wife, put so much into the Miss Georgia pageant in some of the early years. And today you are sharing with us some of actually the program books from the 1979 and 1978. And pageants have changed somewhat since you first started. You're presently a big supporter, but you're not a part of the official leadership team.
Right.
But you were for many, many years.
I started, and Louise and I started with the Miss Georgia pageant back in the mid-1960s.
Really?
That is correct.
Okay.
And we were active until the mid-80s, and I was president of the Miss Georgia pageant during the late 70s, but Louise and I were both on the board for about 20 years of the Miss Georgia pageant.
I didn't realize you started that early.
Yeah,
So
we were new to Columbus. I lived here, came here, but moved away to go to
college and come back.
But then we married, and then we came back here in 1965.
But you found time to be that involved, and you were a full-time educator, dealing with people's children every day.
Well,
and then you wanted to go deal with more people at the end of the day.
Everybody needs to do something fun after work.
Okay, that was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
And so the pageant history, I want you to share with our audience what it was like in the 60s. We know it's a scholarship pageant. And sometimes we hear from some of the feminists and people like that is, you know, you are making the woman an object and all of that. But a lot of things have changed over the decades.
That is true.
Right.
The Miss America pageant is 95 years old.
Is it?
That is
almost
correct.
100 years old.
And the Miss Georgia pageant has been in Columbus 79 straight years. This will be the 79th year of the Miss Georgia pageant being here. So the JCs, the Columbus JCs, which I was a member of, back in the 1960s. Now, the president of the Columbus JCs went to Atlanta to the state fair to judge a pageant.
Okay.
In those days, the winner of the state fair in Atlanta went to Atlantic City with the title Miss Georgia.
Oh, really?
And as the Miss America pageant does from certain times, they make changes.
Right.
So Leonora Slaughter from Miss America was at that state beauty pageant, and B. Ed Johnson from Columbus was there. And she told him they wanted to move away from the idea of a beauty queen from a state fair. And she said the JC organization is the kind of group we would like to have to sponsor our pageants. She said, Mr. Johnson, would you take this pageant for the state of Georgia back to Columbus and run it? And I'm getting on a plane in 30 minutes, so you have 15 minutes to make up your mind.
Really?
So,
at the spur of the moment?
On the spur of the moment, and he took a big chance because he didn't get to talk to his board. And he said, we'll do it.
He made an executive decision.
He did, on the spot. So beginning in 1945, the pageant has been in Columbus uninterrupted every year since then. So this will be the 79th one this coming week. And so next year they celebrate the 80th.
And so you see the cars all over town. I remember back some years ago when we had Bill Hurd Chevrolet, you would see the queens or the ones from different counties, and they would be driving some of the Bill Hurd cars. We would see them staying at the Hampton Inn over on Airport Thruway. So we knew that they were here, but I didn't understand the legacy, and that's why I wanted to chat with you.
Those car dealers loaned the Miss Georgia pageant automobiles.
So those were loaners.
So those were loaner cars with the big Miss Georgia sticker on it.
Right.
And then that's the way they transported the girls around town, because they got to eat.
Yes.
So you got to take them out to eat.
Right.
We've got places that fix food in Columbus that donate meals. And let me tell you, we got 96 contestants here in town this week.
96.
They run the Miss Teen pageant for girls 14 to 17.
Okay.
And then the Miss Georgia pageant is girls 18 to 28.
18 to 28.
And
see, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought they stopped maybe like 22 or 24.
They did back in the day when we only had one pageant. But this group now, they're running two pageants at the same time.
96
on 4
girls.
nights, 96.
Wow. And
96.
so we are housing them here. It's economic development. Their parents and their supporters are coming.
Would not believe how much money this week's pageant brings into this town, because the River Center is full to capacity of family and friends that are staying at hotels, eating in restaurants,
yes,
and all of it shopping in downtown Columbus.
Really?
So it's a fortune being spent this week.
Okay.
And it's that way. It has been that way every time they
Okay,
come.
so that was the value in having them come to Columbus, and then even our car dealerships, they saw the value in having them too.
And then there will be a car dealer in Columbus that gives Miss Georgia a loaner car, the new one, every year. Gives them a car to drive for their year
as the queen,
as the title holder.
Really?
That is correct.
Oh my goodness. See, so I'm learning something that I didn't know, but I did have the pleasure of meeting Betty Middleton, I think was her name, on the Dee Armstrong show at NBC 38 Studios, and she was very, very lovely young woman and very polished, and and so I was just really impressed, because sometimes what the media show us or say about pageants and queens is not quite what it is today.
Well, Ruston Oldsmobile many years ago
back in the day, that's way back.
Give us the cars, and we would have a parade.
Really?
In downtown on Broad, and then I'll not tell this, but they gave convertibles.
Really?
And as president of the pageant, they gave me one to drive. And Louise and I took off to Panama City in that convertible from Bill Hurd with the Miss Georgia pageant sticker on the side.
Well, that's okay. You deserved it.
Well, what can they do now?
They can't do a thing. It's past the statute of limitations. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to our first break to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors.
Straightforward is brought to you by State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front lines for veterans every day. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. Whole Patient Healthcare. Dr. Jada Rimes-Bacote is board certified in family medicine. She believes the best patient care includes practical, individualized lifestyle changes. Located at 1338 13th Avenue, Columbus, 706-641-2080, or visit wholepatienthealthcare.com.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm enjoying this wonderful poolside visit with our awesome sweet tea. Thank you so much.
I can't wait till we jump in.
Our awesome host today, the fabulous Judson Patten, who has over the decades worked with the Miss Georgia pageant, attended Miss America pageant in Atlantic City.
Yes.
And on one of those trips, you experienced something. Of course, we shake things up. We don't care. That's what I like about you.
You're right.
You experienced something in Panama City, and you wanted to bring it back and implement it here in Columbus. Share that with our audience.
On one of the trips to the Miss America pageant, when Louise and I went up to support our Miss Georgia. Now, Louise was the traveling companion and hostess to the Miss Georgias. In fact, after being crowned Miss Georgia stayed here with us.
Really?
For the period of time getting ready for the Miss America pageant.
Oh my!
There were a lot of things to do, so she just sort of like moved in. But on one of our earlier trips to Atlantic City, they had, after the pageant ended and the girl was crowned on Saturday night, they had a breakfast. Now this is midnight we're talking about.
Okay.
And that was so much fun that I wanted us to do that in Columbus after we crowned the Queen on Saturday night. Now I'm talking about 1978. Did you know there was no place in this town to have
was even
an
open?
event?
Oh,
Trade
right.
Center was not here.
Right, because everything closed up early.
And I was so determined we were going to do it that I went down to the Ralston and made arrangements to use the top deck of the parking garage outside.
Really?
And we prayed for no rain, and the alternate plan was if there was rain, we'd go down to the next level. But we had that first one here in Columbus after Saturday night at the top of the parking deck of the Ralston
Hotel.
Now the next year we wanted to do it again.
Right.
And the Trade Center wasn't ready. I went down to the Bill Hurd showroom because they were not selling cars there anymore, but they had a lot of glass and everything.
Right.
So we had the second one in the showroom at Bill Hurd and had the food catered in. And I hoped nobody would find out that the week before we were going to be there, one of the guys was working downstairs and got killed with gas.
Really?
There was a gas leak.
Oh my goodness.
And he had gotten killed downstairs, so I didn't tell anybody about that. And I hope they didn't see it in the paper.
Right, that's when we had the Ledger and the Inquirer. We had two papers.
And by the third year, the Trade Center was open and ready to go, so we started doing it there at the Trade Center.
So what about the board? How did you get any pushback? Because sometimes when you are a creative like yourself, and I find myself in those situations, and you come up with an idea that people, they're not comfortable with change or being edgy. See, that's what I like about you. We are edgy people.
Now, the Miss Georgia pageant had about 8 titled officers.
Okay.
I was the president. They still have title: vice president, secretary, treasurer.
Okay.
We had a board of 45 members.
45.
So when we met, that was this board of 45
and you
people.
need to get a majority of 45.
And, I called around before the meeting and I explained everything to anybody I thought might not like it too much.
Right.
And I told them privately why we needed to do this.
it.
And they were a very cooperative board. And they went along with that.
So, but who did all the work? Because that required, did you hire people to come in and decorate? Because here in your backyard, it's just, it's a little piece of heaven. Well, so, were you able to appoint people? Did you take it on yourself the first year because you had to show them the way to do it? See, that's what we do as creatives.
Now, even though the pageant turned itself into a corporation, Miss Georgia Pageant Corporation in 1966, because that's another change Miss America wanted, away from the JCs and incorporate.
Okay.
But all of these JCs that had worked for years and their wives who were called JSETs, they continued to work through the following years with the Miss Georgia pageant.
Because
so they
were
loved
on a
it.
mission.
They wanted to do it. So that's where all of your other people came to support and decorate and arrange catering if we needed it and all this other stuff. Because, the whole JC organization, even though it was not just a JC project, they were also
they were just bought in. And then it was bringing what you said, revenue to the community, even back then. Right.
Back in the day, we awarded Miss Georgia a $2,000 college scholarship.
But that paid pretty good for college back then.
Last year, Miss Georgia got a $25,000 scholarship.
Wow.
And keep in mind, the first runner-up, second, third, fourth, evening gown winner, talent winner, they all also got additional scholarships. But Miss Georgia walked away with $25,000. Now, that's out of Columbus.
Okay.
Columbus businesses and things are still today as active in supporting the pageant as they were then.
That is
And then there are
amazing.
individuals that give.
Yeah, because like yourself, you are just, no, you're fully dedicated because you're not the marketing person, but it's been a part of your and your wife, Miss Louise's legacy. So I saw it on Facebook. It's like, we have all of these events. Buy your tickets,
Yeah.
and you're telling people, even though you're not presently serving on the board, and then you show up with your Miss Georgia family shirt on, but see, that's
This
what I
is a shirt
like.
everybody got that was at the opening party
Yeah, but
Friday
you're
night.
still there to support.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Sometimes when
yeah.
people are no longer in charge, they don't want to support. But no, every year, and I follow you on social media, I can just see, you're there, and you're cheering the girls on, and of course you were up with having the festivities.
Sometimes I like to be in charge, Gloria,
Right.
and I love every minute of it. But then there are sometimes I don't really want to be in charge.
You just
I
wanna
just want to
enjoy.
be there.
Yes.
I want to enjoy it.
Right.
And, that's part of the reason that I'm definitely going to every night and every activity this next week
Right.
of the Miss Georgia Pageant because I want to go enjoy it. And there's still people involved across the state
Right.
that were involved in the pageants back
then. Right.
Yeah.
And so we know there have been some changes because we had the Me Too movement and all of that. But what we're going to do is take our last break, go to our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to talk about that.
Sure thing.
All right. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors.
David Benefiel at the historic Highland Hall, florist extraordinaire, making dreams come true for all occasions. Visit David and his team today at 1504 17th Street or call 706-324-4881, where happiness blooms. Barbara's Cleaning Service, a 5-star commercial service with satisfied customers in Georgia and South Carolina, built on the principle that every detail matters. Barbara's Cleaning Service, a new season building a family legacy.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I am really enjoying this poolside visit on location with the fabulous Judson Patten. And I tell you, you just intrigue me with all of the things that you do outside of what your regular career was. Even at your church, you do public relations there, you're the marketing person. I mean, you're really on it. You're going to put the announcements out, the pictures during the service. And I was just sharing with you in a sidebar. A lot of times, people are not that committed. But you committed to the Miss Georgia pageant way back, you and Mrs. Louise, in the 60s. And you have continued to be a loyal supporter even after you retired from the leadership team. You didn't retire from the mission. And you still out there promoting it. That's why I called you, because I was like, he said, you got to get your tickets, everybody, and you got to be there every night. And it's all good stuff. And it's not because you have some family member. You know how we meet people in life and it's always about them? See, that's not who you are.
That's another conversation for another day.
I know. But you're like, none of those are any of the queens of the 90-something. They're not people. It's just that's what you do. And that's what's important. And we just need more of that. So before we went to the break, we were saying that there were some changes with the youth Me Too movement. And of course, women's liberation and all of that. So you started in the 60s. Now we're at 2024. What is one of the main changes that's happened?
Well, one of the shakiest things came up about 5 years ago, and that had to do with the swimsuit. Now, Gloria, let me tell you, there was nothing more beautiful than back in the day to see these young ladies in a one-piece colored swimsuit, every color of the rainbow, and have those gorgeous high heels dyed to match.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
Right.
And then the swimsuits got tinier and tinier and tinier in the last few years. And the Miss America pageant decided, again, they wanted to make a change.
Okay.
Kind of away from just a beauty pageant, more towards a talent an education pageant
Okay.
with the idea that any girl interested in that avenue could feel comfortable participating. And the swimsuit is one of the main things that would keep some young ladies that were talented and smart.
Because they were not
They would
comfortable
not
with their bodies.
be comfortable in some of those
Right.
tiny little swimsuits.
Exactly.
And another fun thing, back with these swimsuits, you know, swimsuits have a tendency to ride up.
Right. So you have to tape them down, right?
Well, big secret,
Yeah.
there's a spray that you can spray on your behind, and it keeps the swimsuit from riding up.
See how
It
silly I was? I
stays.
thought they used two-sided tape. Like
No, they had a
days.
spray.
Oh, really?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so all of those tricks. And of course, pageant moms and participants, they know all of that.
Yeah.
Right. And so those are some of the things in the week before the big crowning. People are preparing and making sure they got everything ready, even for the gowns, the low plunging ones. We got to make sure we're not just falling out.
That is true.
Right, that we're just not falling out. So the portions that they're competing, I've seen them ask questions. What is their platform? So we went to that. One person had domestic violence, and one was eating disorders. I saw a pageant one year where the person was addressing and bringing forward individuals that had eating disorders.
Well,
so are we still doing that?
That is something that's come along in the last few years. Each of these young women has to have a platform, and they can't just say they got it. They got to have proved that they are actively doing something
in that
area to try to solve the problem. So if one of the young ladies says that her platform has to do with eating disorders, she has to have a program going that shows she is actually involved
and not
in
just
helping.
an idea
No,
or
you
concept.
can't just say you're doing it.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the on-stage questions, they will usually address their platform and their thoughts about that and how they can help other young women. And then, of course, they've still got the evening gown competition, and then they do a sportswear competition, more or less, in place of the swimsuit.
Okay.
So they still get to show their athletic ability and that kind of thing without it being a little teeny-weeny bikini.
Exactly. Right. Because some people just take everything too far. Some people really do. I don't care how fabulous your body is. There's a time and a place for everything, and that's not every situation. Okay, and so when they get ready to go to Miss America, they have a chaperone, like you were saying, that your wonderful late wife, Miss Louise, you all used to host Miss Georgia here until it was time to go to Atlantic City. So they have what we say in entertainment, they have handlers.
Right.
So.
Well, there were a lot of things to do between the Miss Georgia pageant, which is usually in June, and the Miss America pageant, which used to be Labor Day week.
Okay.
So a lot of it needs to be done right here in Columbus, because sometimes the contestant may have to change her talent, song, whatever it is.
Okay.
So they need time to work with people and do that kind of training. One of our former Miss Georgias that was here, Deborah Mosley, she told me, Judson, I need a piano to practice with. There's no piano in my house.
Right.
But you better believe we got that girl a piano right in my living room.
You're resourceful.
So she
I believe
could
that.
practice her singing with that piano. But then there are a lot of people in Columbus that have given awards, clothing, gowns, all kinds of other things. And then during the summer, Miss Georgia will go around town and meet the people that are giving that and thank them for giving it, and then collect whatever it is that's being given to her. And if they're if it's clothing, you know, because we've had contestants that had to change their evening gown from the Miss Georgia pageant to the Miss America pageant.
And so the community and the community support.
It is. Columbus is a big supporter, and always has been.
Has been. And it changed a lot from the time you started to where we are. It has grown. Look at the books. And you were saying you used to lay these out at night in between grading papers. I don't know how you did that, but bless your heart. And this is a program
from
for
last year. It is
so it's
so
it is big as a
full.
phone book. The old phone books. We
Yep.
don't have them anymore.
Well, the contestants do sell advertising to people in their own home areas
Okay, to
that
help.
want to be involved,
Okay.
Supporting that girl, like from Miss Rome
Okay.
or from Miss Savannah or Miss
Oh, okay.
Atlanta. Give those people an opportunity to get
be in that book
involved
as
too.
well. Well, I just want to thank you for allowing me to intrude on you. I was just so intrigued when I saw you and all your pictures, how much fun you were having. I said, what is he doing? He's just, you're going to have a good time, which is a good thing. I know, and you deserve that. After working almost 40 years and taking care of other people's children every day, you've earned to be in paradise. And this is a little piece of paradise.
Like
every
I
day.
said, retired school teachers.
Exactly, but you earned it. But I just want to thank you for supporting the young people. Still in scholarship. You're still got your hand in the pot, helping wherever you can, cheering them on. Because sometimes all you need is a cheerleader.
Well, there's a lot of people today still involved in putting on this Miss Georgia pageant.
Right.
And they're all wonderful people, and they work hard. The president of the Miss Georgia pageant right now is Trina Pruitt. She lives in LaGrange, Columbus. But she's a teacher.
Okay.
And I can't even imagine the hours she puts in.
Well, I just want to thank you for representing us well, because everything you do it with excellence. And so we'll just be watching and just see what happens, and hopefully Miss Georgia will end up being Miss America. How about that?
That would be cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Tully.
All right. This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.
What up, world? What's up, Columbus? Be sure to tune in every Sunday, Straightforward with Gloria Strode, right here on NBC 38.